Welcome to the Business Men and Women of Color podcast series. I am your host, Ann Alston, CEO and founder of ALSTNTEC LLC, and it is my pleasure once again to bring you quality programs for everyone who's listening. Today we have another wonderful speaker here who is just amazing. She is local to our Maryland area, and she will be speaking to us today about our physical health and our well-being using yoga. And I know everybody's excited to hear about yoga. I personally would like to know more about it. So I would love to have this speaker on today. So before I bring her on, I just wanted to make a quick highlight that it is very important that we have a balanced life and balanced, healthy work-life environment. As business professionals, it is very easy for us to forget that we need to take care of ourselves. Either we're working too much, too hard, or we're not resting long enough, or stressed over things that we definitely have no control over. So we need to take care of ourselves first. So taking the time and attention to making sure that we have a balanced work life is one of those things we must do. I can't tell you how many times that I've been burning both ends of the candle because I'm working through the day and the night, and I just feel like I got to get stuff done. Well, we all got to get stuff done, and I have to follow my own advice. And pretty much like I say in my book, that we need to play, which means we need to take the time to relax and celebrate the things we have accomplished and remind ourselves why we are working and what we're working for. So we can't do it all. So let's incorporate some healthy and relaxing things in our lives so we can continue to be productive. So with that said, I would like to turn our attention to our guest speaker, Jovanna Oliver. Miss Oliver is the founder of Jovanna's Yoga Suite, located in Fort Washington, Maryland. She began her journey with yoga in 2004 as a complementary training to martial arts. And prior to teaching yoga, she has also taught Tang So Do for 11 years and later becoming certified in teaching Vinyasa Yoga in 2001. And she is also a registered affiliate with Yoga Alliance and teaches at numerous places throughout the DC, Maryland, and Virginia areas. And, you know, she is also an advocate of technology, which I'm happy to hear because she also offers this on Skype. So if you can't get to her studio, you can hit her up on Skype and get a class from Miss Jovanna. One of her mantras is that she says teaching yoga has opened her eyes to a whole new world of possibilities in health and wellness, and that her goal is to get people into their sweet life. And we're going to bring Jovanna on right now because I would love for her to explain to us what exactly is sweet life. So welcome to the show, Jovanna.
Thank you so much for allowing me to join you this evening.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us about the Sweet Life, your studio, and what actually inspired you to kind of go to martial arts and then into yoga.
My journey into yoga was, like you've mentioned before, was a complementary to my martial arts. But what I learned later on within my training and within teaching is that, especially within our community, in the Black community, we were putting health and wellness on the back burner. Our health was pretty much at the bottom of the totem pole. It was very common for me to hear, especially mothers and people working within the office, that they were always tired. They weren't getting enough sleep. Stress was a key factor. So they were doing a lot of stressful eating. They would sit at their desks a lot of times. Many people would eat that bag of Cheetos to kind of relieve the stress, and we're finding that it wasn't being relieved. And I was finding that we were the number one on a lot of the diseases. We were number one on HIV and AIDS. We're number one with chronic illnesses, heart disease. And I kind of wanted to offer a service to the community so that it allowed us to have that option to have a better quality of life. So I came up with the mantra, Sweet Life. Your sweet life is your ability to have a healthy physical maintenance, that enables you to have a better quality of life while gaining a mental relaxation. A lot of the illnesses that we gain within the Black community is due to stress. Stress is the number one key to many of the illnesses that we have within our. And like I mentioned before, what we do with our stress is that we compact it within ourselves, not just emotionally, but physically. So we have this stress and we have no outlet. We continue with our days, managing with our friends and family and work and home life, and we don't deal with that stress. We just continue to go on and on and on with our lives. So the stress builds, and it compacts. And instead of the stress just going away like we're hoping for, it creates another pocket within the body that creates illnesses, and it messes with the sleep. So we're finding we're unable to sleep. We're having emotional breakdowns. For some people, they're all of a sudden they're sitting at a table, maybe at lunch, or they're in their car in the middle of traffic, or they're wherever in a grocery store, and they break down and cry, and they say they don't know why. All of this is due to stress. Stress. So the stress doesn't just evaporate and go away. It forms into other things within the body, such as it comes into cramps, it comes into headaches, migraines, it turns into hypertension. We find that we have problems with our lower back, issues with our hips, we have heart issues. A lot of that is due to stress. So I wanted to offer a service to the community. So again, that we have that option of displacing that stress, putting it somewhere else, and creating a better quality of life. Not just on the mat, but something that we can take away with us off of the mat when we go into the workplace, when we go into our home life, into our relationships, knowing when to follow the body. A lot of times we don't listen to the body. So we say, well, I have aches and pains, I have issues, but I'm going to ignore it. It's just going to just dissipate. So I'm just going to take this pill, or I'm just going to forget about it, and I'm going to continue doing what I've been doing before. And the issue gets bigger. It becomes a bigger problem, all because we're not addressing the issues. So again, when you go into the city, when you go into high income places, they have alternatives to get rid of their stress, to displace, create relaxation, and a better quality of life. So I wanted to bring that back into the Black community, enabling us to have those same options. And I also added teaching classes on Skype and Google Chat to take away the excuse and why we can't get into our practice. A lot of people say, well, I can't come to your studio because I have a lot of stuff going on during the day, and when I come home, I have to deal with home life. So I offered that service as a 24-hour service. So you can call me day and night. We can link up our schedules, and you can get your practice. So you can get that ability to get your practice in without the excuse of not coming to class or coming into the studio. So again, I encourage people to participate within their life, to not stand on the sidelines of their health and wellness. A lot of the issues that we have are preventable, and a lot of times we realize this, but we still kind of put this on the back burner. Our issues, our mental issues, our physical issues, a lot of this is preventable if we relieve that stress. So it's so important that we become a participant within our health and wellness. And all it takes is a few minutes. So you don't have to put away your life. You don't have to shift anything around. You don't have to sacrifice a bill, or time with children. This is your opportunity to take some time out, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, anytime throughout your life, to just kind of put away some time for yourself so that you can recollect yourself and function as a better person throughout your community and at home.
Awesome. That is some great information, Delana. Now, you said several very interesting things. Is that and you mentioned a couple of times, is that we constantly put things on the back burner. We know that we need to take care of ourselves, but for some reason we don't do that. And then we end up just putting it off. And then we have all of these ailments, backaches, high blood pressure, illness. I mean, I am too. And one of those people that when I went to college and I was kind of, just going straight, I'm going to tell you, I was not eating right. And sometimes I'll get back on it. out and I'll stay there for a while and then I fall back off and it's, back and forth. But more, but based on, your experience and talking to your clients when they come to you and they trying to relieve this stress, what are some of the main things that they complain about as far as like the cause of their stress? I mean, is it work related? Are they business owners that, for some reason having issues? I mean, what are their big the number one thing that they all say when they come to you and say, this is my stress?
So a lot of times when my clients come to the studio, their number one issue is stress during the workplace. We spend a lot of hours in the workplace, and a lot of people work for someone else. Some of them work for themselves as entrepreneurs, and it's the same issue. Whether they work for themselves or whether they work for someone else, the issue is still the same. They put all of their work as the number one priority, and it's gaining them a lot of stress. They're not pulling back to take time for themselves, to recollect, to regain some perspective. So the number one stress comes from work. We come in early in the morning for work, and we stay there late at night. And we're not taking our time out of our schedule to take a breather. And we don't realize by taking time out of your work schedule for even just to get up to go to the bathroom, to get up to get a drink of water, it creates a very different experience when you come back to your work. You're refreshed. You gain a new perspective. And a lot of times, the answers to the issues that you have at work come to you just by taking that time out. So the number one issue that a lot of people come to me, it isn't necessarily the illnesses. The number one excuse or reason why they come to yoga is the first thing, I am so stressed. I am so burnt out. I am just, I need to come to your studio. I have to. It's stress in the workplace.
Really interesting that you mentioned the workplace because, one of the things I said in the career transition, and this was information from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, is that, the number one reason why people leave their jobs is because of coworkers and their boss. And, I know that in my own experience that my stressor has always been, not so much the work that I'm doing, but it's just really the communication that goes between myself and other people when we're all trying to like collaborate because everybody wants to get their ideas in. And then that causes like a level of stress. And then you also have your timelines and then your projects. And then sometimes you just feel overwhelmed because you have so much to do and you just can't get it done. And I think a lot of people who are listening to this podcast can relate that at some form of fashion, they're having some level of stress. I know that some stress is good for you, and then there's a lot that's bad for you. And yes, work can sometimes play a part of it because you can't even get up, like you said, you can't go to the bathroom. Sometimes you're in meetings like all day and you can't even catch a break. Some organizations are trying to implement some healthy routines like walking during lunch or maybe fruit in the morning. But like you said, by the time you get home, you're pretty much burnt out. So how do people, what advice would you give people knowing that they stay at work all day long, how to motivate themselves to come and do yoga or even just get up and do some exercise? I mean, what are some of the things that worked for you to get people motivated to do these things?
One of the things that I encourage people to do is realize where you are at this very moment. Acknowledge your schedule. Acknowledge what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. A lot of times people take on unrealistic expectations of themselves. They say, I'm going to work out 5 times a day or 5 times a week. So they go out and buy all these passes and membership cards to studios and gyms. And what happens is we think about it, and then we just keep thinking about it to the point where we no longer want to do it. We talk ourselves out of it. So you have to be realistic on what you're willing to do, where you are at this particular moment. What I learned when I was coming through my training is my instructor told me you have 24 hours within a day. You can fit something within your day or even within your week. There are 7 days within a week, 24 hours within a day. At some point, you have the capability of peeling yourself away from a desk, even if it's a second. A lot of times, we put things in front of our schedule instead of making sure that we have that space to take a breather. So we put paperwork and paperwork and paperwork, and then we don't realize that, you know what, I could have actually taken a break here. I actually could have, left work a little bit earlier to do something for myself. So if you know that you have a busy schedule, if you are a morning person, if you're most active within the morning and afternoon, what you should do is, a lot of people, what they're doing now is before they go to work, they take a class or they do something exercise, such as running, or they take an early gym class or an early yoga class. If you're more energetic during the day, then that is the best suggestion I can give you. If you are an evening person where you're all right with taking a class, you're done within the evening, you still have energy, and you still have that opportunity and time to take a class, then by all means, you can take an evening class. Some people take late evening classes. So, for example, an early evening class would be a 6 o'clock class, a 7 o'clock class. But if you're able, if your plan or if your schedule permits you, you can take a late evening class. There are many studios, especially within the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, who offer 9 o'clock and even 10 o'clock p.m. classes. So if you are able to finish your day and even put some time away to go to a late evening class, definitely do that. A lot of times people don't realize that they can also come to class during the weekend. We do a lot of our work, either work or we tend to the family or even our health activities during Monday through Friday. And we don't realize that there are a lot of classes and workshops and even free open air classes on the weekends. A perfect example, in Malcolm X Park in Washington, D.C., during the spring and summer schedule, they have an outdoor yoga class that's free. You just pretty much show up. That's during a Sunday afternoon. On Saturdays, you have many studios, a lot of studios that have classes between 1 and even 5 o'clock during the evening. So, like I said, for me, when it came to me during my practice, I realized that, I worked and functioned better during the evening. I felt that I gained my second wind during the evening, and with my schedule, acknowledging where I was with my schedule, it allowed me to take classes during the evening, especially when I was coming through my martial arts training. My classes were in the evening. So I was already used to that physical activity in the evening once I was done with my 9 to 5. I also did classes during the weekend. Knowing that my schedule was clear, I acknowledged my schedule, I acknowledged my energy, and I went ahead and took the initiative to sign up for classes and workshops during the weekend. So it's all based on what you're willing to do. And of course, there are going to be times where you're going to feel sluggish, and there are going to be times where you're feeling energetic. What I tell my students is the hardest part is getting to the class. Once you get to the class, the work is pretty much done for you. But the hardest part is just getting up and going to class. So, during the times when I felt sluggish and I was almost trying to create the excuses of why I couldn't go to class or why I couldn't go to this workshop, I took the thought out of it and said, you know what, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go, and that's it. I didn't put any more thought into it. So a lot of times we just have to acknowledge where we are physically. Do I have energy during the day or during the evening? And with my schedule, does my schedule permit me to work during the day? And even if I work later on at night, do I have any time during the evening or even on the weekend to take on my classes? A lot of the offices now, both private and federal government, they're offering physical education classes. They're offering yoga classes, Pilates classes, Tai Chi classes, line dancing, Zumba classes in the middle of the day. So a lot of people aren't able for instance, to do any work during the morning. And some people aren't able to have that time during the evening. And even some people travel during the weekend. So even maybe their weekends are kind of filled up. But now you have an option during your lunchtime to have a class. You can pick any of the classes. A lot of times you just show up to the class. You don't have to pay for it. You just show up in your clothes, your workout clothes, and you just come to class. Some of the yoga classes, you do have to bring your own mat, but a lot of times you just show up to class. And for a lot of people, this works because they're able to take out their lunchtime. So instead of going to the McDonald's, instead of getting that big fat chili dog from the food store, instead of getting that bag of Doritos from the
Yes.
convenience store, that
Or
box of
Chipotle.
donuts.
We all eat Chipotle.
Yes, instead of standing in that 1 hour line with Chipotle to get that burrito that
That's
you're
right.
going to only have 10 minutes to eat, you have your whole lunchtime to take that class. And you don't have to do it every day of the week. You can do it once a week, twice a week. There's so many programs that now the federal government, even the federal government, are acknowledging that physical health benefits the employees. It
Right.
creates a better environment. They are less stressful. And if you check in one of the studies, it states that people who are physically fit and who are active are less likely to call out sick. Notice, I keep that in mind. If the more physically fit you are, the less sick you are, the less sick days that you take out, you're less likely to get sick. One of the reasons is when you are physically fit, when you are physically active, you are naturally detoxing the body of all of the toxins that are within your body. You're sweating them out. So a lot of people say, you know what? Sweating is icky. I don't like it, but it actually is good for you. Not only does it cool the body's temperature, but it also detoxifies a lot of the body. So you'll notice, for instance, your friend who was drinking all night long went on a great drinking binge out to several bars. Within the next hour, 2 hours, or the next day, all of a sudden they're sweating profusely, and you're smelling the alcohol that they were drinking. It's the body's natural job. It's this natural maintenance on detoxifying and releasing all of the alcohol from that person's body. So that's why when someone has been drinking and they're sweating and you smell the alcohol from the body, that's what the body is doing. So that's what happens when we are physically fit with the body. When we build up heat within the body, we're increasing our circulation. We're increasing the functioning not just only with our muscles and bones, but with our organs. Our organs are flushing out fresh fluids, and it's detoxing all of the fluids within the body, and it comes out through the pores. The skin is the largest organ within the body, and you'll notice the little pricks of water that comes through the body is detoxing. It's eliminating all of those things in your body that do not belong. So remember that bowl of ice cream you had the night before? Remember that? And you know.
Well, I have
that?
sherbet. I don't know about ice cream, but I had sherbet. But yeah, we have to be, all that is so important. But here's the thing, Delana. Here's the question I have, and I know I'm one of those people that is a little insecure. Okay, so what about people like myself that's insecure, about our bodies and things of that nature. I recognize that a lot of the companies over in Arlington where I work, they have like people coming out and jumping into classes. And then you have the people like myself that sit down in the chairs and watch everybody else exercise. And we know that it's a healthy thing, we do. But, there's a lot of us out there that, feel insecure, about our bodies or maybe who we're around or what people may think. And we know that, to some people, this might be a little thing, but for me, it's a huge thing, to kind of be out there and twisting my body in a way that may not feel comfortable for me. I don't know how you break the ice with people when they come and, they're not slim. I mean, they're overweight, and they want to be healthy, but they don't know where to begin or how to feel, how do you address that?
I'm so happy that you brought that up. Because there is a huge movement going within the yoga community. The body image is changing drastically. They're acknowledging that all of the bodies aren't a size 0. All of the yoga bodies don't have blonde hair and blue eyes, and they don't wear spandex or tube tops everywhere. Me, myself, I am absolutely, I've never been, I'm not a size zero. I don't wear tube tops and things like that. First of all, that would be a major wardrobe malfunction. So, I was a part of a book called Yes, Yoga Has Curves. It was written by
Oh,
Dana Smith. I'm on page 27. And
awesome.
every woman that you see in the book is a different size. There are full figure women. There are women with thick thighs, big stomachs, little stomachs. Every version of a actual yogini, the people that actually practice this, that you don't see in these yoga magazines or in these, high fashion studios where everyone wears a size zero. They're in this book. There's a full representation of what women of all sizes, colors, look like. And, how I address it is I tell people, you know what? Your body is going to do what it's going to do. Come as you are. Wear comfortable clothing. You don't have to wear. A lot of times, the clothes that I wear, I mainly wear t-shirts and any comfortable pants that are just that. And I offer modifications and variations to each and every pose. I realize that everyone aren't the same when they move. They don't, do the same thing. Your body changes on a daily basis. So one day you're feeling like Gumby, you're able to swing in your legs and hopscotch and run. The next day you might hit a brick wall, and the only thing you can do is lay on the floor, and that's fine. Your body, you just come to class and accept this is me, and I'm going to do whatever I can do. There is no pressure for me to force someone to do something that they're not comfortable with. So, I tell people, just come as you are. Come wearing comfortable clothes. I offer modifications and variations for all of the pose. And, if, your body says, you know what, I'm unable to do that, then definitely pull back and relax and just follow your body. So, I fully know, because I know what it's like going into a yoga studio where you're not the size zero like everyone in the class, and your shade of skin is darker, and everyone stops class and kind of looks at you like, oh,
Yeah,
But,
that's the thing. People are
right,
kind of staring, and then you start to feel, you start to, kind of retract,
right,
um,
right,
and I think it's really important that, you're letting people know that it's no longer the status quo that you have to look a certain way, because society has, pretty much dictated how we should look. But I am noticing, on the media that, things are changing. But then, you, like I said, you have people like myself who are very skeptical and like, okay, yeah, I probably could go out there and do that, but I'm not feeling comfortable about how people are viewing me at the time. And I know for my own self-confidence, it took a lot for me to accept, my size. I mean, I've been overweight all my life, but then there was also other factors that kind of played with that. So for me to kind of go out and do yoga, which is one of the things I wanted to do, and I'm just letting everybody know, I'm just being real. It's very hard for me to kind of like throw on those clothes and say, okay, I'm gonna go out into a yoga class, and I'm not gonna care
right,
what people look, stare at me or care about me. But inside I do, you know, and I
right,
think it's important for everybody to know that this, like you said earlier, this is something we have to decide if we will and will not do, whether we're going to be healthy. And if you're not going to do yoga, do something else that's going to help you be healthy. For me, it's mostly getting up and doing yard work and moving around, because I know with yard work, that's, everybody's comfortable with that. When people see me out there raking, they know I'm raking. Okay. They
right,
know I'm not
right,
doing it.
right,
To me, it's a psychological thing, and I can go out and paint a building because I love to paint and do the house and all that. But to me, that's physical exercise. And then I eat
right,
my fruits and my vegetables. So, so guys, you listening to this, if you feel like you're empowered to go to the yoga class, please do. She's giving you all the information of where you can go to a yoga class, and don't make the excuse I'm making right now. But
right,
but go out and and venture out, and I'm going to have to work within myself to get out and go to a yoga class and get over
right.
whatever it is that I'm going through. And and it will help us, especially being business owners, and we have to always be out there all the time in front of people. If you feel like you need to lose 20 pounds, do what you got to do. I mean, if you feel like you want to do yoga or you want to just take an exercise, do what you got to do. But what's really, really that I kind of want to speak on now is that, with your yoga classes, I mean, are you encouraging the people that come to you to bring their kids? Because one of the struggles I've always had is that, my sons, they are tall, they are big guys, and I've tried to incorporate their exercise into my exercise program, which doesn't always work. But, I mean, do you have a lot of young people coming to your classes as a result to the parents coming?
I have had a lot of young people come to class due to their parents. And a lot of the parents encourage their kids to come not just as an exercise class, but a way for them to connect. So a lot of times as parents, we do a lot of parenting, but we don't really spend time with the kids. So a lot of times they use classes such as yoga classes to kind of recollect, connect, and spend some time with the class. So I do encourage the parents all the time to bring their kids to class with them. I tell them all the time, kids who are, I would say, between 4 and even 4 and 9, I expect their attention span to be maybe 15, maybe 30 minutes. And if they wander off, great, that's cool, that's fine. I don't expect a 6-year-old to do a full class, for a full hour. Now, don't get me wrong, some of them have. My 4-year-old niece can actually do a full class with no problem, but not everyone's child has that attention span. So with that being said, if they come to class and if they're, fine, they're not bothering anyone, they're not interrupting anyone else's practice, if they wander off, just as long as they remain on the mat, that's fine. But I also encourage them to even still keep bringing them to class. I have what's called the buddy pass. So if someone brings someone to class with them, their class is $6 and the other person is $12. I tell people all the time, bring your kids with you. You can use the buddy pass continuously with your kids. So if they bring 2 people, or if they have 2 kids, their class is free and the other class is $12, or however they want to split that. But I encourage people to bring the kids with them. One of the reasons why it's very important is because this instills a habit that they can carry on with them, not just as children, but it carries on to adulthood. So being healthy, moving the body, taking classes is a normal thing. It's not a hard activity to actually jump into once we're adults. It's a habit that they've learned from childhood, like brushing teeth, like tying shoes, putting on clothes. It becomes a habit that the kids see as normal.
Yes.
So I always encourage people, bring your kids with you, if not just to create a healthy habit for the kids, but also as a way to connect with your kids. A lot of times we have like I said, we spend so much time at work, and then we come home, we have duties at work, and we're working at home. And then what happens a lot of times is we don't have that special one-on-one time with our children. Or we don't have that special time with our children. So a lot of times this is a great opportunity to just spend some time with your child. Bring them to class with you. You'll find that a lot of times, I can speak from experience as a child. I can't, remember any of the toys or clothes or anything that my parents, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't even remember that. But what I do remember is the time that my mother and father spent with me, the places that we went where we were together and we enjoyed each other, the communication that we went on. I can give you that experience. I guarantee your child will be able to re-quote that and replay that memory for you as they get older. They remember Mommy and Daddy spent time with me. I went to a yoga class with them and I had a good time. And, and afterwards, maybe we went and, got ice cream or we went to the park. But the kids can recall that time when you spent with them as a parent. It's so important that as a parent that we reconnect with the kids and let them know that they are loved so that they don't go looking for love and attention and time
in the streets. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Now, let me ask you a question. What are, just for my clarification and those who are listening, about yoga, you have yoga and then you have the other type of, I mean, give us a definition of the two types of yoga that you teach.
So I teach Jovanna Yoga, which is yoga for the life, inspiring a fearless and happy life. And we're using a lot of the philosophy and body work to improve the quality of your life. That is Jivana Yoga, which is a sub teaching of Vinyasa flow. Vinyasa flow is where we're taking poses and we're connecting the poses into a flow, into a sequence, one after the other, where they're not staggered, where it's not choppy, so it's a continuous flow from one pose to the other. There are several different types of yogas, practices, and a lot of people will even create their own version of yoga. Once we get a product or a teaching, everyone kind of goes off and creates their own version of that particular teaching. So a lot of people, they come up to me and say, "Do you teach Bikram yoga?" I immediately tell people no. One, because Bikram copyrights his own types of teaching and his name. So if I go out there and teach a Bikram class, quote unquote, I could be in serious trouble legal-wise. I can be sued for copyright infringement, and that's something I
Right.
don't want.
You got to
So
be
I do
careful.
teach, right. So I do teach hot room yoga, and that's different from Bikram in that I am using the Vinyasa flow and just adding the hot room temperature to the class. Bikram has his own version of poses. He has his own type of teaching, and as a matter of fact, you cannot even teach any of his classes unless you've gone through his training. You can't even work in his studio unless you've gotten his specific training under him. So, a lot of times people say, "Well, do you do Bikram?" And I say, no, I don't do Bikram, but I do hot room yoga. So it's a lot of people, they create their own version of yoga, but a lot of it is under the hatha context of yoga, which is the unifying the sun and moon, which is pretty much what hatha means. Hatha means sun and moon, and basically it's a balance of the body, the mind, and everything that encompasses. So all of these, Vinyasa flow, you have hatha, you have Vini yoga. It's just so many numerous, types of yoga. What I usually tell people is, don't connect yourself to the type of yoga. Find the type of yoga practice that connects with you, that you like, that you're willing to get up and go to the class for. And then whatever that yoga is, that's whatever the yoga is. The underlying teachings of yoga are the same. Like I said, a lot of people, they branch off and they do their own version of yoga, their own subculture of yoga, but the underlying teachings of yoga do not change. So, I tell people, just find whichever class or version that connects with you. And then you can start putting names to it. You can go further within your practice. And it's also all right to try different types of yoga classes. So you don't have to be bound down to a particular practice. When I started my earlier practices with yoga, I didn't just go to one type of yoga class. I went to different types of yoga class so that I knew the difference between one and the other, and I was able to pick the one that spoke to me the most.
Awesome, awesome. So this is wonderful. I am excited. I'm going to have to just deal with my inner self and get into a yoga class. I think you actually kind of convinced me because, I do think about all the time, of the things that I'm going through as far as stress. And I'm also thinking about what I can do to, relieve that stress and add that to my repertoire of my play. Those are one of my methods and techniques that I use to relieve stress, and yoga definitely needs to be part of it. And I think it's really good for, like myself, what I will probably do is that if I'm not quite comfortable going out, I will probably go, on my cable TV and see if I can find a yoga class or something, and then try it out and see if it fits you or, and then, try different instructors. And then that way you can do it in the comfort of your home, get acclimated to doing the yoga yoga, and then maybe venture off to a class where you can get a little bit more specialized attention, and that's usually how I kind of start off like my exercise program. I'll do it at home, get comfortable, and then I'll venture out to the gym and do my thing. But for those out there listening who are into yoga, you now have a wide variety of information now where you can go and explore different yoga techniques with different people, or go to Delana's suite and get to know her sweet life technique, because everybody needs to be able to relieve stress some form of way. And yoga is just one of those things that it takes a lot of discipline, and sometimes it can be fun to certain people. So definitely. So Delana, tell everybody where they can find you. Also on her website, y'all, she has a quick video, so you got to check that out. So tell everybody how they can find your studio.
You can find my studio at 7222 Crawford Place. That's CRA, F as in Frank, F as in Frank, ORD Place in Fort Washington, Maryland. You can reach me anywhere on Facebook at Delana's Yoga Suite. You can reach me at Twitter at Delana's Yoga Suite, LinkedIn, Delana Oliver. You can also reach me at Instagram, same thing, at Delana's Yoga Suite. You can also reach me at 301-221-7050. You can also contact me through my website, BETHD4.wix.com/Delana Yoga Suite. And definitely you can contact me anytime, day or night. You can definitely leave a message, send a message. And I offer classes in the morning, in the evenings, on weekends. So again, and like I said, I teach on Skype and Google Hangout. I was able to add that in as an additional service. So don't allow yourself to give yourself that excuse on why you can't have a better quality of life mentally and physically. Make your way to the studio or call me. You don't have to be in the state. You can be out of state. If you're out on a business trip, you can call me and schedule a class in. But we have to get we have to participate within our healthy practice. Like I said before, the battle is getting to class. That's actually all of the battle. Once you get to the class, you get on your mat and you just focus on your practice. Once you begin your practice, you're not focused on anyone off of the mat or what you're going to do after you leave the mat or things that you've done before. Once you begin your practice, once you're able to focus on that here and now aspect of your life, that stress is releasing. So again, let's participate within our health and wellness. Come to the studio, contact me. Let's get you on the mat. Let's get you into your sweet life.
Wow. Well, thank you so very much, Delana, for all of that wonderful information. I am definitely inspired to try yoga. I'm actually going to be going on TV right now and see if I can find one, and then hopefully find you if I'm not liking any of what I see there. And
right here, yeah.
That's right. And she's already let everybody know that she is available. So definitely get with Delana, check out her company, and also please tune back in to listen to more amazing speakers talk about their different specialties, the different industries, and the different issues that we are addressing here on this podcast. So thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.